All right, like I told you, we are here at the University of Tampa. We're super excited. We have my friends here from Pi Kappa Phi. Guys, can you please introduce yourselves?
Hey, my name is Michael Schultz. I am the president of Pi Kappa Phi.
My name is Cole Panowitz.
Cole, do you have a position in the chapter?
I do. I'm on the board for the social media, so like the Instagram and like the Facebook and all that stuff.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And you said Facebook.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I like
Yeah.
to hear because we're going to be talking about that later. As you guys know, I'm here at the University of Tampa talking to the community about social media, about marketing, how to tell your fraternity and sorority story before someone else does. So I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm here in Tampa. And I got to talk to these guys really quickly before, but I need to know, where are you guys from? Because we've already made some connections there. Where are you guys from and what brought you to Tampa? You know, I want to hear,
Sure.
Michael, let's start off with you.
Well, to start off really simple, I am from Kansas City, Missouri. Initially, my freshman year, I'm a sophomore now, I went to Mizzou, University of Missouri. I joined Pi Kappa Phi there, was initiated there, and then I transferred over here for the rechartering of Pi Kappa Phi. Tampa's great. You know, I love the weather, kind of the whole area is gorgeous. And it's really a great time. Yeah, I love it here. It's awesome.
All right, so see, there's already so many stories and questions I have in my head. All right, so you go from Lee Summit to Mizzou,
Right.
and then you transferred here
Right.
to start Pi Cap, or was that just a coincidence that the chapter was already restarting here?
Basically, from the national fraternity, it was going to start regardless of if I was here or not.
Of course.
But, you know, it was kind of a nice opportunity for me to help out and them help me back just because I know what it looks like. I know, you know, kind of a fluid running fraternity being that the SEC school Mizzou does it pretty well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is crazy. So then you spent your whole freshman year at Mizzou, beautiful campus, absolutely
yeah.
freezing in the winter.
It is.
I was there a couple years ago in February,
Yeah.
actually, and it was very cold. So then that brought you down here.
It did.
What has been the biggest change from Mizzou to the University of Tampa?
It's a good question. You know, there's plenty of changes. I would say kind of the area, you know. I mean, I love Mizzou. I love being in Missouri, but I am a very city-oriented person.
Yeah,
I definitely belong to a city,
Yeah.
you know, downtown, just having more to do. So
Yeah.
being able to kind of get somewhere that's a little more active off campus has been great for me, and I noticed that's a huge difference. I would say that Mizzou, you know, it's an SEC school, huge Greek life. So Greek life is not quite as active here as it is there, but I would say it's good in its own ways, and you know, things
Yeah.
like that.
That's awesome. All right, Cole. So we already met. These guys are already incredible, obviously, because we all have Midwest connections. So Cole, where are you from?
I'm from South Bend, Indiana. I'm from around that area. And I decided to come to Tampa because my aunt, she has a condo down. Do you know where Siesta Key's at?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've heard of it. Yes.
Awesome beaches there. I love it there. So we would go there as a kid, and I just knew I always wanted to go to school in Florida.
You were planning ahead
Oh, I
back
was
then.
planning.
I like that a
was.
lot, actually.
So yeah, and I wanted to get away from the cold and stuff. And my sister too, actually, she goes to Ave Maria, is in Naples.
Okay.
Yeah, I come from a family of 6, so there's a lot of us.
What number are you?
I'm the middle.
Let's go. So you're 3 or 4?
I'm 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. So you have another. So your sister is in college.
She's a freshman now. She's below me, so she wanted to follow me. But yeah, my whole family, we always loved Florida.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, and I looked around and I really just fell in love with Tampa. And you know, like Mike was saying, the city is just, there's so much to do.
Yes.
It's beautiful. So yeah, you know, I came down here freshman year, and I've been here. I'm a sophomore now.
Yeah.
And I've really just had an awesome experience. I want to live here after I graduate. I love it here.
Was
It's
the
awesome.
plan always you said a school in Florida then?
It was. I don't
Really?
know why I always had that in my
Yeah.
brain.
Where else did you apply? What else?
I
What did that look
applied-
like for you?
So yeah, senior year, it was my second semester, and I was like, I haven't applied to any schools yet.
yeah.
That.
Yeah.
So I looked up top 10 schools in Florida,
Yep.
and I
yep.
applied to all of them, and then Tampa emailed me first, and I was like, hey, let's go with
You
that.
applied to 10 schools? Yeah. I wish I had that drive. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do 3 max, I think, and we'll see where that ends up.
Well, my
So-
mom and dad were like, yo, you need to get out of here. Just get to school.
Yes. And then, like, go somewhere where I can go visit you.
Yeah,
Because
exactly. that
Indiana is
too.
crazy right
Yeah,
now.
Yeah, I love my
So-
parents, biggest supporters, you know. Shout out to
That
them.
makes me
They're
happy to
awesome.
hear.
Yeah.
Because I think that, you know, we're so far away, like from families,
Yeah.
and especially you guys, and especially this campus community. You look at the demographic and the data. So many of the students are actually from out of state.
Right.
So like
Right.
you have to build that community somewhere else,
100%.
and sororities and fraternities really are a really great way to do that. So tell me, Cole, how did you find the chapter? How did you find the fraternity, and what was that process like for you? And then, of course, I want to hear Michael from you because your story is also a little bit different, but
Right.
I want to learn more about it.
Sure. Yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, you know, last year when I was a freshman, you know, I didn't even think about Greek life at all. Like, you know, Mike was saying a little bit about like Greek life isn't as big here, and I went random roommates, you know, and I got along with them really well, and I had a good friend group, so I really didn't feel the need to like, join a
Yeah,
frat.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
never
yeah,
even
yeah.
thought about freshman year. And then next year, sophomore year, still didn't think about it. And then my roommates now I live with, they're all in Pi Kappa as well. They all joined, and I was still kind of like, do I want to do this, But then I saw like how much just fun they were having, how active
yeah.
they were, and the connections they made with these people, because then I was hanging out with them, and I was hanging around with other Pi Caps, and I was like, all right, maybe I'll give it a try. And I went to an event, and and I just felt like a connection with the guys, and it was really just like I felt like, oh, I want to do this, and no regrets. So glad I did it. Happy where I am. It's really awesome.
So you joined fall sophomore year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? And now you're a leader in the chapter already. So what's the difference between like freshman year at Tampa, not being in a fraternity, and now going into your second semester, sophomore year, being in the fraternity? What are the biggest differences you've seen for yourself?
One thing I would biggest say is involvement. And, one thing that I felt like I was missing like last year, and I'm realizing now, is really in campus involvement too.
Yes.
Because in high school, I was a big, I loved like being involved, like spirit. I don't know if like.
Of course.
Like football.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Chants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That. I love doing that stuff. And, like now that I'm in a frat, I'm a lot more involved, I feel like. So I feel like that's a big difference and a big change is because when you're not in it, you have your friend group and stuff, you kind of do what you want, but being in a frat kind of forces you, I guess, to
be involved. You have to do
which is
stuff.
a good thing, 100%. Yeah.
Yes, because people think that we're just like, oh, we're always just at parties or doing
No,
that
yeah.
stuff. It's like, I don't have all the time because I have to do all my required stuff for the fraternity. I have to be in good standing. I have to do all this good stuff.
There's a lot of stuff, like, I guess, like you really don't think about that you're involved in now,
Yep.
Which I love, and I love just connecting. with
Yes,
other
you get to
people.
meet so many people. So,
Yeah.
Mike, what about you? How did you? Because I want to know how you found. Because you joined Pi Kappa at Mizzou,
Right.
and then came here. So, how did you first learn about the fraternity?
Yeah. So specifically Pi Kappa Phi at Mizzou. I was kind of just, your normal freshman, went through formal recruitment at Mizzou, didn't really know what I was looking for. I didn't even know a whole ton about fraternities in general, but quickly after joining, I met a lot of people. Got to know them really well. I had an amazing time at Mizzou, great freshman year. And honestly, at the end of the day, it wasn't the people that made me transfer. I'm a very independent person, and so I really wanted to be somewhere that's one, a little warmer because I don't like the cold.
No, same.
Yeah, and then two, just somewhere where I could personally grow, and then also kind of just get away from home a little bit. It wasn't an overarching thing or anything like that. I just have my space, somewhere to actually grow outside of hometown area. But coming here, though, it's really intimidating for anybody.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
like you said, the demographic is from out of Florida and Tampa. So, lots of people coming here and don't know anybody. And I knew for a fact that a fraternity would be a great way to get involved. And I was just looking at the fraternity website for U Tampa, and they said Pi Kappa Phi rechartering. And so, I thought to reach out. I didn't hear anything for a while, but eventually, I think about a month before school started, I saw the Instagram for Pi Kappa Phi become active. So I reached out to him on there. That's whenever I connected with Donovan and Nolan. They helped me a ton. Shout
out to those guys, by the way. Shout out to those
awesome.
guys. Big FSM guys.
Oh, yeah. And, I can't lie, it was intimidating thinking, I'm going to a smaller school. I'm going to a school that does not have as much Greek life. And then still kind of taking that chance to think, I've got to go help these guys recruit people, build this up. But at the end of the day, I'm really happy that it happened. I'm happy I did it. I think it was a great opportunity, a great leadership position to have. Met lots of good people. I'm really happy and, just always having a great time with the people I met in the fraternity. Yeah, that's ultimately it. And also, like Cole said, involvement's a huge thing. I think this really kind of forces people to just actually get more involved. If you've got a friend that's in another club, it's like you kind of think, oh, okay, maybe I could be part of this club, something like that. It just helps you get out of your bubble, you know what I'm saying?
It opens it up to like letting you know that, yeah, you have University of Tampa, you have your own fraternity, but then there's also other things.
Exactly.
And I think like whenever you put yourself just in the fraternity, my biggest piece of advice is like, what else can you do to help your career where it's not just a fraternity? Right.
Exactly.
And hopefully this will help open up more doors because I'm really passionate about like helping young men like get themselves out there, not be scared. Right. And like, what advice would you have to maybe someone who is thinking about joining in the spring, but maybe doesn't want to because like they're scared? Mm-hmm. And I think, there's too many guys out there who are like either lonely in their rooms, don't want to connect with other people. What advice can you have? Because you talked a little bit about that, Mike, when you say, it's a little scary, it's a little intimidating. What advice do you have for those guys? Because I think it could be harder for young men to push themselves.
The best way I can word it is anything I ever say is going to always be easier said than done. Early on, I had to learn and fight through that intimidation with trying everything new, moving schools, joining organizations, meeting new people. None of it's really ever easy to just go and do that by yourself, but, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And honestly, with the fraternity life, I think that it can seem really intimidating, but honestly, most people, looking back, they'll say, I really liked these guys I met. And most of the time, they're meeting them in classes, they're meeting them at rush events, whatever it may be, they're meeting people, and they're kind of using them as an outreach. And so honestly, my best advice would be to just give it a try, Like, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, and that's fine. Nothing's ever final, you can move on. But it's always worth trying something new. I'm incredibly happy that I did because I'm having a great time down here, I got past my intimidation and helped me out. I'm happy where I am.
I think that's going to help you when you get down the line, when you graduate, when you maybe move to a new town or a new city. You're going to know, hey, I've done this already in the past. It's going to be hard, and I'm going to still move forward with it.
Exactly.
Cole, what advice would you have maybe to guys who are scared to think about spring recruitment? Because I work with so many chapters and councils around the country, and they're like, spring is always smaller. We're just not going to try as hard. And I'm like, no, I need you to try harder because we're always going to have that fall excitement. We need to bring some of that vibe to the spring because winter can be hard. And I think even in Tampa, there might be some like cloudy days and that can be really hard. But what advice do you have? How can we get more guys out for spring? How can we get our fraternities to be more excited about spring recruitment?
Right. You know what? What's funny is I think that if you ask any, I would say 80% of our frat that we're in is that if you ask them why'd you join or whatever, they're going to say looking for friends or whatever. But another funny thing is how many of them will say I didn't even plan on rushing.
Right.
I didn't even want to do this, but now that I'm in it, I couldn't imagine life without it.
Absolutely.
Which I think is funny and you will not met a guy. I've never met a guy who's like, yeah, man, I wish I didn't join. But I think that it's never too late to rush.
Yes.
What you're saying about having excitement, the same fall energy, right? In the spring, you should be even more excited because you have the fall buildup, and now the spring. Half the time, spring is gonna be. We have so many things planned,
Right.
So that's I just feel like you got to be excited,
So what can we do to it's that springtime can be really rough for a lot of chapters, and I want to get more guys out there. How can we be more visible? Because I know you work on the social media committee. So what are some of the strategies that maybe you have already done with your committee to get more guys out this spring?
Yeah, definitely. We do a lot of tabling, right? And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. Well, we do, especially Donovan and Nolan helped us a ton, kind of get an idea for what do we want to do? How can we bring engagement from inside the fraternity to help expand to outside? Honestly, now that it's just us, me and the exec have kind of worked together to figure out, hey, what are people into? And a big thing we rely on is if we wouldn't really want to go to an event, why are we doing it?
Bingo.
So I think just finding things that we would have a great time being at ourselves is a great way to bring people in. And also, secondly, with social media specifically, is just being very transparent, being open and showing people, hey, this is what we're doing, promoting it enough to where people can, it's not hard to find, I think one thing about Tampa that was really nice is lots of opportunities came my way. Lots of people are good at promoting here.
I like that, okay.
Yeah, and so I think by also keeping up with that, we can do really well on showing people what we have to offer.
One more thing on that.
Yeah.
About another thing with engagement too and posting is I remember before I was looking at I remember last year looking at frats pages and stuff, you're interested in or whatever.
See, you're still looking even if you weren't sure if you're going to join.
Right, yeah, it's always in the back of your mind.
Some of y'all haven't posted in 6 months. I check.
So when you look through and you see all these guys on the page, they're at the beach and there's all these guys having fun, or they're doing a basketball tournament, or they're doing paintball, and you're like, that looks fun, I wish I had a friend group like that, So I think that's definitely something important to post is what you guys do as a chapter and stuff like that.
And currently, are you guys still reestablishing as a chapter? So how long have you guys been on campus so far?
Yeah,
right. So we started our official rechartering process back in August whenever school started.
So just this August.
Yeah.
You guys are kind of doing well.
We're doing well.
You're doing
I'm
really
very
well. I'm
excited
kind of
about
shocked,
it.
honestly, from
appreciate
what I've
it.
seen and what you guys have been doing. That's great
Yeah.
to know.
Thank you.
You know what? It's a lot of work, but everyone's really been doing their part and coming together. It's been awesome. And then we are set to be looking to officially charter late April. And
Wow.
really excited for it, you know? It's a great time.
Yeah, that's honestly like I was a rechartered member for my fraternity as well. And I think that has given me so much drive for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Nothing was ever handed to me in the fraternity. So I was always working, making it happen. Cole, something that you said that stuck out to me, you said, you can always join. You can always make that happen.
Right.
That's that mentality for a newer chapter. And I think our established chapters don't think that anymore. And I push on that a lot where I'm like, no, guys should still be checking out. You can always take in new guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
What do you guys think about, like, what does that look like for you guys? How do you continue to recruit? Because I think that's something that you learn as a rechartering group. But honestly, when you got your charter, it's like, we're only taking guys for like a week and a half. That's it. What do you guys think about that? Why should we continue to bring in guys throughout the semester?
I think that one big point that is really important to hit on is regardless of whether or not we want to accept it or not, you know, people, once they get older in the chapter, their attention span is focused a little more on building their career opposed to building the frat up. And so I think that one thing that's really helpful is bringing on those new guys. It's brand new ambition. It's brand new ideas. It's just ultimately an expansion of the team. And there's never something you're going to there's never going wrong with bringing on more people that are ambitious and happy to be there. Because, you know, the next new guy could have a team winning idea that could change everything. So, you know, I think that's important.
That's going to be a clip right there. It's an expansion of the team. The best companies are always bringing the best people in year round because you want to get better. You want to get stronger. You do that by being open to guys who maybe aren't sure about joining or something like that. Because if we're only taking the guys who want to join during a certain period, we're missing out on all these types of guys that can help grow.
Yeah, I was gonna say something like that. For example, if you meet a guy that you like in your class or something, and it's not like during rush or whatever, and you're like, this guy would be a great fit, and you're like, okay, we'll come back around fall, and you know, and maybe he's like, well, you know, loses interest or something, and you just lost out. You know, like Mike was saying, like, what if this guy, you know, says something that, oh wow, why didn't we think of that? You know,
you have a whole summer, and it's like, we'll talk in the fall.
Yeah, and then
you
they
probably are
forget,
not. They're going to be like going somewhere else, doing something else, just feeling like I'm going to transfer to some other school.
Right.
Like, you know, like you never know what that's going to look
right, you
like.
never know.
All right, guys. My last question for you is that you guys are working to recharter the group right now. Where do you want to see the chapter in 10 years? Because 10 years goes by super fast. Right now, we're all fixated on 2016. Y'all, it's about to be 2036, like sooner than later. Right. So where do you want to see the chapter in 10 years?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. You want to answer that first?
Sure.
Cool. Like, let me get a second to think about this one right here.
You know, one thing that really excited me and I was able to figure out quick was the fact that, you know, Florida in general being, for lack of better words, sort of a retirement hub, we have plenty of alumni in the Tampa area that are super ambitious to see us growing and coming back. They're looking forward to doing things with us. You know, they bring energy. I'm in communication with a lot of them. I would like that to be us someday, whether or not we're in Florida. You know, just happy about what we created, and hopefully one day we can come back and maybe give back to it once, you know, we're making like career money, you know. So
absolutely.
I'd love to be able to do that. Additionally, I'd like to grow in size. Maybe that's more short term, but you know, I mean, good first semester, but always looking to grow, kind of like we talked about. But yeah, honestly, just focus on giving back to each other. I hope that the future generation can take care of us, and we'll take care of them.
Like that we're going to be strong enough now, where we're going to have a foundation. We're still here in 10 years.
I know, because it'd be great to look back someday in my career and say, oh, this is still going on. It's still improving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And definitely something for me is what I would love to see is coming back and just seeing guys who are having like a great time and just enjoying life and just, you know, like having a purpose, you know, finding like their friends and stuff. You know, I would love to see like, you know, it's something that I, you know, was able to be a part of, and I would love to like just see us grow, you know, and just have like be able to see like us have an impact. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're going to see 10 years goes by quick. Whenever we drop this episode, you got to save this and be like, hey, save this in your YouTube or whatever that looks like. You're going to be able to look at it and just be like, okay, this is what I thought. What am I doing to still help out those goals? Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure and honor working with you. We're here with two of my friends from Pi Kappa Phi at the University of Tampa. So on 3, we're going to wrap up the episode and we're going to scream post, okay? We might get in trouble, but we're going to see what happens. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Post!